There is a saying in the records of Shilin Guangji, raising children to prevent aging. In the eyes of many people, especially elderly people, the term, son, in the phrase, raising children to prevent aging, only refers to a son, not a daughter. They firmly believe in the idea that a married daughter splashes water, and from beginning to end, they believe that their daughter is someone else's family sooner or later, and that they need to support men's parents. Therefore, until now, raising children to prevent aging is still the most legitimate reason for many people to prioritize sons over daughters. They not only prioritize sons over daughters, but also believe that only their sons can provide for their own retirement. They also worry excessively, and when they see that others only have one daughter, they will say some sarcastic things. At the age of 62, 62-year-old Mr. Wei said, "I am 62 years old this year, and 36 years ago. I remember 36 years ago. It was already around 9 a.m. on November the 9th, 1987. I heard my wife's painful cries and anxiously paced outside the delivery room, sweating profusely. From time to time, I prayed to God with my hands together. My parents are also waiting for the good news, while my father whispers to himself, 'God bless you. You must have a son.' With a whoop of crying, my child came into this world. When my parents heard the sentence, 'Congratulations, you've won 1,000 gold,' the two of them looked at each other. I know why my parents are unhappy, but it's actually human nature. My father has 3 sons, and both of my brothers have daughters. Due to strict family planning regulations at the time, I looked at the little baby wrapped in swaddling clothes and felt that she was so weak and needed protection. I carefully held her in my arms, clumsily adjusted my posture, and held her little hand. Feeling incredibly soft in my heart, I patted my wife's chest and promised, 'My daughter is also very good. It's my parents' little cotton jacket. Don't worry.' During our daughter's upbringing, our husband and wife faced considerable pressure. Not only did my father often mention the matter of passing on the family line intentionally or unintentionally, but he sighed and sighed in front of me. The most common reason they advised me to have another child is not only for passing on the family line, but also for providing for the elderly. My daughter will marry out sooner or later. To be honest, I have also been worried about the issue of elderly care, but rationality has overcome impulse. Considering my wife's physical condition and the limited financial conditions at home, under the careful cultivation and education of my wife and I, my daughter grew into a tall and graceful girl, was admitted to a good university, and after graduation, had a stable job. She was also an obedient, sensible. 10 years ago, my daughter got married and became the daughter-in-law of another man. I am very satisfied with my son-in-law and my wife, although his family conditions are not very good. 8 years ago, my daughter also became a mother and had her own children. Due to the premature death of her son-in-law's mother, no one was there to take care of the baby. In order to prevent my daughter from facing a dilemma of not being able to balance her career and family, our neighbor, who firmly believes that only a son can provide care for our parents, asked us, "Old Wei, I advise you not to listen to your son." Now, actually, I didn't worry about my wife and I in our later years, just because I still have a lot of money in my hands. My wife and I have been working for so many years, and besides the expenses of raising our daughter, we have also saved 300,000 yuan. Together, our elderly couple's pension is 6,000 yuan per month, and we also have 2 houses in our hometown. A month ago, my wife fell ill and needed surgery. As we are a small city, and the medical level is not very advanced, I called my daughter and hoped to go to her place for treatment. After receiving our call, my daughter personally drove to pick us up, and even dragged us to the mall. That night, my son-in-law and I had an argument because our daughter's house was only a small 2-bedroom apartment. The master bedroom was for the couple, and the second bedroom was for 2 grandsons. I thought my wife and I wanted to make ends meet in the living room. But my son-in-law challenged me and said, "Dad, Mom's going to have surgery soon. How can we sleep on the floor? What if we catch a cold? Listen to me. Mom and my wife sleep. You sleep on the sofa." In the end, we each made a concession and asked my wife and daughter to sleep. The next day, both my daughter and son-in-law took leave, and personally accompanied us to the hospital. After running around, they took my wife for a checkup. My son-in-law also took me for a full-body checkup and said, "Dad, this is the checkup package I bought a week ago." My wife's operation was very successful. During her stay in hospital, my daughter came to see us every day. As the doctor ordered us to eat only liquid food, my daughter prepared vegetable kani that was very suitable for my wife's taste, and also prepared shrimp kani. My daughter said to me with a smile, "Dad, I wanted you to eat well, but my husband said it was not good, and I was worried that my mother would be greedy. Besides, you should pay attention to health care and eat less meat and fish. Isn't this light kani good? My wife will be discharged in 2 days." Just now, I discussed the matter of elderly care with her. I think it's feasible to rely on my daughter and son-in-law for elderly care. You see how filial they are. As I mentioned earlier, the neighbor firmly believes in raising children to prevent aging, and even insists on giving birth to a son after having 2 daughters. For the sake of this son's neighbor, the elderly couple, they put in everything they could to earn money to buy him a house, and marry him to pay off his mortgage, leaving behind all the dowry money for their 2 daughters. In the end, but as the grandchildren grew up, and no one needed to take care of them, the daughter-in-law immediately turned her back, and drove the neighbor and his wife back to their hometown. The neighbor has been staying there for 6 months now, and the son and daughter-in-law, let alone coming back to visit, may not even remember to call and greet them for a month. My wife also agreed with my statement and sighed. I have advised them more than once to have a bowl of water level, treat their daughter well, and not harm her for the sake of their son. This has 3 benefits. Firstly, it is convenient to take care of each other, and our daughter and son-in-law don't have to worry about us staying in their hometown for retirement. Secondly, it is much more convenient to live with our grandchildren if they like. Thirdly, it is convenient to handle property matters. First, write the names of our elderly couple as security. My wife strongly agreed with my suggestion. I want to tell everyone a lesson from my personal experience, which is that the word, when raising children to prevent aging, refers not to sons, but to children. Father is kind and filial,